Some would say the most wonderful time.
The most wonderful time.
That's right.
Of the year.
Who wears pajamas anymore? Anyone? Like,
we had a pajama night for youth.
I know, but no one's at their house wearing those.
Yeah.
Come on.
If I'm gonna be honest, the pajamas I wore for that night, I end up returning the next day to Walmart. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave.
Yeah.
I think when you think of the greatest gift we've ever received being Jesus.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Youth Podcast, the Christmas edition of the Youth Podcast. We'll be here all month long. I know we've taken a pause on our services, but we're still going to come at you via YouTube every week, via Instagram, wherever you're watching at. And we just want to talk about this very special time of the year. Some would say the most wonderful time.
The most wonderful time.
That's right.
Of the year.
It's just so special for a lot of reasons. You know, we just got done with Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving was great. We had a great series at Youth last month called At the Table.
Which we were at
the table.
The table that we use
right
in
now.
the series, we're at the table.
Right now. And so really it's a picture of what this podcast is about. At the Table is like kind of like a conversation about, you know, what things are going on in our life and stuff like that. And so in this Christmas season, there's a lot of things happening. We're getting ready for the fun that is Christmas. We're getting ready for the traditions that is Christmas. And speaking of traditions, let's just talk for a moment about the craziest traditions that we have. Maybe something you grew up with your family, something that you have now with your wife that you have no say in, you just got to do, or whatever that looks like. What's something you do that's like interesting and fun?
Well, yeah, for me, one of the things we always would do, and we still kind of do to this day, is we would watch It's a Wonderful Life the day before Christmas, whatever. And I think it's just a great movie. It's one of the best, if not the best, Christmas movie of all time.
You know, I don't think I've ever sat down and like engaged fully with that movie.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like it's old, and I'm like the new school Christmas type.
You like the Grinch?
No, speaking of Grinch is my favorite Christmas movie, and I think it's just a beautiful story. But we'll save that for another episode because we're gonna talk about our favorite Christmas movies and why. But something me and my family do every year since I was young, we would at like midnight go out to our yard and throw carrots on the roof because no one thinks about how the reindeer have this long, exhausting night of traveling around the world, house to house. Can you imagine?
No food.
No food. Just Santa's slaves, just carrying.
Santa's eating all these cookies, but Rudolph's getting nothing.
Nothing. And I don't know why carrots. I think it's just well known. We all know reindeer love carrots. And so that's something we do for fun. But just drop in the comments right now something that you guys do in your family. For fun as a tradition, whether it be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever. Do you like opening? Some people open their presents at like midnight, Christmas Eve.
All of them.
All of them. Yeah,
really?
I've known families who do that.
That's so interesting.
I've never done that. I just.
Did you open one?
One. Yeah, one. But I don't have a choice in that one. Like someone gives it to me.
That's actually.
Which
I'm
is like,
so sorry.
No, it's very depressing actually, and it's like one of my least favorite things. But no, it's just.
Your mom's listening to this right now. She's taking notes.
Yeah, it's typically like pajamas for the family. You know how.
You take pictures and everything.
No.
So.
No point, no purpose in the pajamas. Come on, if pajamas have no purpose, just let us know in the chat right now. Who wears pajamas anymore? Anyone? Like,
we had a pajama night for youth.
Couple no one's at their house wearing those.
Yeah.
Come on.
If I'm gonna be honest, the pajamas I wore for that night, I end up returning the next day to Walmart.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's just a fun conversation. You know, a big part of Christmas time is the gift giving and the gift receiving. You know, as I grow up, I remember when we were young, we want all the gifts. Like we're just like, I want all this stuff. We make a list, but then when you get older, you kind of like don't really care about that stuff anymore, and you love giving gifts to people that you love.
Yeah.
Because there's no feeling quite like knowing someone wants something and then you giving it to them as like a surprise, as an expression of your love.
Yeah, so good.
And we just want to take a moment and ask the question, you know, what's the greatest gift you've ever received? When I think back to mine, I know I got a car like when I turned like 17 for Christmas one morning. That was a big deal, right? What about you? When you think back, is there like one gift that stood out to you? Or
no, I would say for me, I would say it has to be like a game console.
Yeah.
I know back in the day, I don't know even the youth that nowadays know, but a Game Boy Advance
I never was on that.
Wow.
I was on Xbox.
So anybody, if you know, Game Boy Advance, Christmas morning, waking up, opening that, you got batteries you got to put in. That was such, I don't know, I feel like
Nostalgic.
nostalgic.
Yeah. For sure. No, we can all remember times in our life where we wanted something so bad. We didn't know if it was possible that we'd get it. It's just a big desire in our heart. And then we woke up that morning and we're like, no way.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Crying.
I love you all so much.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's nothing like receiving a great gift.
Yep.
And the topic of today's podcast really is that Jesus is the greatest gift we could ever receive.
Yep.
I know in life we want a lot of things. We want money, we want great relationships, we want a good job, we want to go to the right college, all that kind of stuff. But really the greatest gift you could ever receive, which has already been given to you, is the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus.
Yeah.
In this Christmas season, Jesus really is the reason for the season. I know we get caught up in the gifts and the fun and the singing and the caroling and the light shows, but really at the core of all the joy, at the core of all the celebration, for us as believers, it comes down to Jesus and what his life means to us.
Yep.
And so what would you say when it comes to that, like that awareness, that realization that, man, Jesus really is the greatest gift I could ever receive? Yeah. What was something you'd say with that?
Yeah, well, I love obviously, it's a well-known scripture. Everyone kind of knows it. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave.
Yeah.
I think when you think of the greatest gift we've ever received being Jesus, it's that sacrificial love that God had for us, that he was willing to give us something that he didn't have to do. He chose to do because he loved us so much. Yeah. So I think that's really just a representation of really what Jesus is in our life. That really the greatest gift, more than, things, more than a car, more than a console, more than even kind of the lights, camera, action, so to speak, the greatest gift you ever received this Christmas and any time in your life is the gift of Jesus, if you choose to accept him.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about Jesus being the gift. It's like when you get a gift, you didn't earn the gift.
Yeah.
You don't have to work to keep it. It's just yours. And today, hopefully you know that the gift of Jesus is not something you have to work for, something you have to earn, something that you have to perform religiously to keep, but really just receive the gift. And when you get a great gift, your job is just to receive it and to enjoy it and to be grateful for it. And so that's the thing we want to talk about week 1 of this podcast, this Christmas edition of the podcast, is that, number 1, Jesus is the greatest gift that you could ever receive. And so hopefully you're following along the devotional. We got some readings for you to stay on track with, but really celebrate the life of Jesus in this season. Celebrate the people that are around you right now, your friends, your family, your family of choice. Be a part of our Christmas productions. Come and watch. Yep. We have a candlelight service this year, and so it's going to be an amazing time. But yeah, that's week 1, that Jesus is the greatest gift we could ever receive.
Amen to that.
So, Josh, we'll see him next time on this Christmas edition of the Youth Podcast.
I love it. Next time we'll start singing.
Yeah, you got to tune in for that. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.